Hey there, friends. Dave Paulides, Can-Am Missing Project. That is Huck L. Berry, the star of the show. You guys have even stated that we're really here to just see Huck. Yeah, I know. It doesn't hurt. I know. She's a lot better looking than I am. There's no doubt about it. That's a good girl, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's a good girl. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good girl. Oh, you're a good puppy. Oh, you're a good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. Oh, that's a big yawn. Okay. Well, remember, going over to Amazon, see Missing 411 National Parks, Washington State. We need everyone to go see it now. Prices are way down. You can rent it for almost next to nothing. Watch it, and please leave a review there after you watch it. That's what we need, the reviews. So, let's see what I can tell you is we are experiencing huge smoke clouds from Spokane right now. They've got a huge fire going on right in Spokane City and the outskirts of it. I need to send up a prayer for the people there because it's not looking good. And the smoke always blows from west to east and lands in our valley, and right now we are smoked in bad. I don't even want to let Huck out. It's that bad. So that's number one, thinking about those poor people. Number two, we've talked about bears a lot this summer. It continues on. July 29th, at Idaho's Henry Lake State Park, a bear attacks a jogger. A bear cut short a man's Friday morning run with his dog on the Aspen Loop Trail at Idaho's Henry Lake State Park. The man suffered injuries, but he and his dog still made it out of the area on their own. What happened? Idaho Fish and Game said in a press release that the jogger was hurt, yet he was able to get himself out and call for help. His dog, uninjured, came out with him safely. After an ambulance transported the man to Madison Memorial Hospital in Rexburg, Fish and Game officers and Fremont County Sheriff's deputies secured the scene and investigated. The teams checked the park's trails and surrounding areas from the ground, and with the assistance of the Sheriff's Office drone, they identified where the attack happened but didn't find any bears nearby. Because the incident was believed to be a surprise encounter, there was no sign of the bears remained in the area. Officials said no action at this point is going to be taken. Why does this matter? The bear attacks remain relatively uncommon, but they can occur when pets or a human's activity cause distress, knowingly or unknowingly. Officials also stress that Island Park is bear country. An Idaho Bear and Fish and Game warned the people moving quickly through there may be likely to startle a bear. Moving quickly is the key. If you're jogging, if you're riding a mountain bike, you will be a target if there's a bear in that area. It's that natural predator instinct. They'll go look, find it interesting, and chase you down. That's what happened to an off-duty U.S. Fish and Wildlife policeman here in Montana, about 25 miles from my house. He was riding on a mountain trail. This is about 7 or 8 years ago. Riding on a mountain trail, came around a corner on his mountain bike, hit a grizzly bear, and it attacked and killed him. Camping and boating will continue at Henry Lake State Park, but the trail system will be closed for a week. If you live in bear country, Idaho Fish and Game provided some helpful hints to stay safe. It advised people to travel in groups, make consistent noise to reduce the chances of a surprise, and it cautioned people to avoid approaching animals. Being on trails at darker times of the day like night, dawn, or dusk are discouraged. Now, where this happened was just 10 miles west of the Wyoming and Yellowstone Park border. Couple things here that I think are important. Don't approach animals. If you see ravens accumulating in an area, stay out of that area. Why is that, Dave? Ravens usually feed on dead animals. If there's a dead animal there and they're circling, there could be a predator like a mountain lion or a bear on it right then. Stay away. Don't be on trails at dawn or dusk for sure. Making noise. It's contrary to everything we think about being on a trail, making noise. You want to be quiet, you want to see wildlife, you want to have fun, make an observation. But in bear country, what you want to do is you want to go out there and you want to make noise. Now, I don't mean playing ZZ Top at the highest levels you can, AC/DC, I don't know, whatever you want to play. I wouldn't do that. When I'm on the trail, about every 30 seconds to a minute, I'll make a lot of noise. Hey bear, where are you? Sometimes I have an air horn, a small one. I'll pop it off twice. Especially if I'm around a creek or a river that's making a lot of noise that might muffle me. I want them to hear me. That was bear encounter number 1. Number 2, California couple fights off bear with hatchet and water bottle just outside their home. Mammoth Lakes police chief calls the aggressive behavior highly unusual. A California couple sustained significant injuries this week after they were attacked by a black bear outside their home, according to officials. The woman opened her door at Mammoth Lakes, which is around 230 miles southeast of Sacramento in the Sierra Nevada, around 6 a.m. on Monday to find one of her dogs fighting a 70-pound black bear. That is a small bear. Huck weighs 95 pounds. That's a small bear. When the woman went outside to try to intervene, the bear turned its attention to her, clawing and biting her. Her husband then came out and was aggressively confronted by the bear as well. The woman was able to grab a water bottle and hit the bear. And the man got a hatchet and hit the bear several times with the blunt end critically injuring it. The couple suffered significant injuries but were able to take themselves to the hospital. The dog and another dog of theirs that came outside when the woman first opened the door are expected to recover. California Department of Fish and Game euthanized the 17-month-old bear after determining it was a threat to public safety. Incidents like this are extremely rare in Mammoth Lakes, says Police Chief Dan Casabayans. He added, bears almost always avoid humans and will flee when confronted. Where did that guy grow up, and where has he been the police chief? This type of aggressive behavior is highly unusual. We are grateful for the couple that expected to be full recoveries. I wouldn't have said that if I was the chief, I'm sorry. Why? Well, we have an uptake in bear attacks this year around the world that is off the charts. Next article, July 26th. Black bears invade Lake Tahoe homes as break-ins surge and locals fortify defenses. South Lake Tahoe police received 174 bear-related calls so far this year. As I've said before, my folks had a house in South Lake Tahoe. My sister has one now. And I can remember we always kept the garage door closed and all of our garbage inside the garage. Always. Because of bears. And bears were all over there. And we aren't talking small bears. We're talking bears 400, 500, 600 pounds. Huge bears. Black bears. The article, black bears are increasingly breaking into homes around Lake Tahoe, leaving residents to spend thousands of dollars protecting their properties from hungry wildlife. Let me stop there for a second. Every neighbor that I know of, within a mile or two of me, nobody leaves their garbage out. No. You put it in your garage. And when the garbage man comes, they'll tell you, and they show you on a schedule that you can look up when they're going to be at your address, and then you put it out like an hour before they show up, because the animal life around here will get in the garbage, and the bears will. So far this year, South Lake Tahoe police have received 174 bear-related calls compared to 97 during the same period last year. 174 versus 97? Friends, that's not normal. According to the Wall Street Journal, several incidents involving bears making their way into homes. One local couple told the outlet they were washing dishes when they looked up to find a bear standing in their living room. Oh, that would be sobering. The animal wandered through the house, sniffed a tube of toothpaste in the bathroom, and urinated on the floor before leaving. Oh, the ultimate insult. It was the couple's second bear break-in within the span of a month. Okay, I'm sorry. I think after one bear entering my house, I would put up defense mechanisms to ensure that never happened again. 2 in a month? There's something wrong with that couple. They got to do something. As encounters become more common, some homeowners have begun installing electric mats, reinforced doors, and other deterrents that can cost thousands of dollars. Resident Margaret Ziegler has installed everything from electric deterrents to a steel door to protect her summer cabin from bears, spending about $7,500 in the process. Quote, I heard the most god-awful noise, the retired physician told the publication. I heard the house being wrenched, the wood being torn apart. The bears are winning, Ziegler said. I'm the one that's spending the money. Similar encounters have occurred across the Lake Tahoe Basin in recent weeks. Fox News Digital previously reported that a California man deployed bear spray after a black bear charged him outside his vacation home over the 4th of July. He spotted the animal rummaging through a garbage can inside his garage. Well, there's a problem. You got to close your garage door. Video of the counter captured the bear rushing toward the homeowner before he deployed the spray, sending the animal running away. California Department of Fish and Game notes on its website that black bears are highly food motivated and naturally investigate attractive smells in search of food. The increase in encounters was also sparked a debate among Lake Tahoe residents over whether bears or people are driving the problem. If you just take Lake Tahoe out of the equation, there's something going on with bears, period, all over the world. It's not a people issue in Lake Tahoe, it's a bear issue. And there's something about the bears that is changing. What that is, we don't really know. Another user wrote, bears have been fine in my neighborhood. Don't leave food or trash out and they just wander through the neighborhood. Exactly. And that was always what my parents and we found. Yeah, there was bear scout on the trails. There was bear scout on the road. There was evidence that bears were scratching their back on the trees in the area. But you know what? They didn't hang around because nobody left food out, garbage out. There weren't any of those interesting smells. And nobody left bird seed out in seed containers that you leave hanging up. Bears love that stuff. Can't leave it out. All right. Bears. Oh, one last statistic I read. Bear spray used properly is 90% effective in driving a bear away at least one time. But as I've told you before, if you drive a bear away with it, you don't go along your happy-go-lucky way, fat, dumb, and happy. You get out of the area because that doesn't mean the bear's not coming back. Bears oftentimes circle around and will come back at another angle, hoping to catch you off guard. Yeah. All right. I've got 2 missing person cases for you today. They're unusual. First case. I know a lot of you have watched the X-Files before. I was a big X-Files fan. Remember the segment where a group of people felt that they needed to go to a certain location and they didn't know why? And they were all just got in their car and started driving. And then they ended up, I think it was like at a ski resort or something. And then a UFO landed there. Do you remember this? What I'm going to tell you about this case kind of reminded me of that right away. The man's name was Hari Karasani, 24 years old. He was here on a student visa from Guntur, Andhra Pradesh, India. And he was a student at Trine University in Houston, Texas. I had to look up Trine because I hadn't heard of it. Decent sized school, good curriculum. I could see why I went there. 2025 enrollment was 13,600 students. Now, various articles said various things. Some said he was a PhD student. Others said he had just finished his master's degree and had enrolled in his and had enrolled in their PhD program. So I looked it up, their PhD program. They only had two options for a PhD. And that was a philosophy of leadership or a doctorate of global philosophy leadership. It never said what his master's was in, but the general consensus, very smart individual. He lived with roommates, also from India. They were his good friends. The roommates said he was a tremendous roommate. Studied very hard. He was quiet, soft-spoken. They never had any problems, and they were all good friends. Keep that in mind. And why is that important? Because when you're good friends with somebody and you're a roommate, you develop, if you've never been to college or you've never had a roommate, if you're good friends, you develop a bond. You tell each other what you're doing, where you're going, kind of look out for each other, take care of each other. And to me, that was important to this story. So December 22nd, 2025, yeah, not that long ago, Hari boarded a flight from Houston and he eventually landed in Fairbanks, Alaska. Okay, let's think about that. India is not quite like Fairbanks, Alaska. Houston is not quite like Fairbanks, Alaska. Fairbanks, December, January, is really cold. I mean, cold like you have probably never experienced. Coldest here in Montana I've experienced, minus 25. That was cold. So he lands. Just as he was leaving, he told his roommates he was going to Alaska and he'd be home January 3rd or 4th. He gave him no reason why he was going to Alaska. After he left, the guys talked about it and they said, well, maybe he was going there because he just needed a vacation after finishing his master's degree. They weren't sure. So he lands in Fairbanks. Here's a map. There's Fairbanks, Alaska. I've been there several times. Not a huge city, but a big enough city that everything there you'll need. And then he took a lift from Fairbanks down to the Aurora Denali Lodge. And the Denali National Park Visitor Center is right adjacent to there. And the park is right in this area right here. This is essentially the gateway to Denali National Park. Here's a closer map for you. He was in this town called Healy. The lodge is a nice lodge. Got everything you'll need. And then if you keep going south, Denali Park Visitor Center, dog sled kennels that would be fun to visit, and adventure tours. So you kind of have a feeling where he went. So he takes a cab or a left from Fairbanks Airport to the Aurora Denali Lodge in Healy. Healy is known as one of the closest cities to the park. that's kind of where you'd want to go if you wanted to visit. Now, there's not a lot of people roaming the roads during the time frame that he arrived. Why is that, Dave? Well, it was minus 42 degrees while he was there. And I can tell you, at minus 25, you got to be completely nuts to be outside. Little story. There's probably only 4 or 5 days it ever gets that cold in Montana. It's usually in late January, early February. I gotta take Huck out. She's gotta use the bathroom. So I take her outside, and we step outside the garage, and it's like that cold hits her. And she stopped, and she looked at me like, "Are you crazy?" I go, "Come on, we gotta use the restroom." She went outside. She went to the restroom the fastest I've ever seen her turn and go right back in the garage. So even Huck, big furry Huck, with her winter coat said, "This is nuts." All right. So it's been reported that on December 30th, he spoke with family and friends on his phone. Still hadn't explained what he was doing there, but he told his friends he'd be home on the 3rd or the 4th of January. Now this is important. If you were going to take your life, you wouldn't be telling people you're coming home. You would just avoid the whole topic. You wouldn't even talk to people. So I don't think that that was the issue here. So on December 31st, he's last seen leaving the Aurora Denali Hotel Lodge. He emptied his room out, took all his stuff, and then there were rumors, unconfirmed, that he took a cab or a Lyft somewhere. And again, minus 42 degrees that day. Nobody believed he was dressed warm enough for the weather. And on that date, his phone was either turned off or had a dead battery. There were also rumors that there was a Lyft transaction in dispute on his credit card. Now that was on a lot of different reports, but I really don't understand why it was even brought up. I don't understand the relevance. But when he was supposed to be back in Houston on January 3rd and 4th, he didn't show up. Friends tried calling him, family tried calling him. Nothing. He never made his flight. Friends said that when they spoke to him before, completely normal, but he never gave any insight as to why he was in Alaska. Again, a couple of the roommates thought that maybe he was just taking a 2-week vacation as a break from school, as a pat on the back for finishing his degree. They weren't sure. Well, Alaska State Troopers got the case. They spoke to the lodge. Nothing unusual. Emptied out his room. Completely normal. They didn't have any idea where he was going. They didn't have any idea where they would search. This is a big if, folks. If anyone was going to hike in the snow at minus 40, 42 degrees, and they froze, they weren't going to get far. I don't really care how you think you might be warm enough. You got to have facial covering, goggles. You got to have everything covered at that cold. He would have been found this spring or summer after the snow melted. I guarantee it. Because he wouldn't have been very far from the trailhead. The family requested that the governor of Alaska and the State Department intervene in this case, hoping that there would be a more concerted effort to look. But my problem is, and what I would even tell that family, is where do they look? Denali is a huge park. Alaska State Troopers have never said if he did take a Lyft or a taxi from the hotel and where that took him. Now, if that took him back to Fairbanks, That's an entirely different ballgame. If it took them and dropped them off at a trailhead, which I sincerely doubt, then that would give you a search area. But they've never stated. And that's the unknown. I can only imagine how distraught the family is in India from not knowing even why he went. The next case in Oregon. The man's name, David Wright. This is David. Looks like a very friendly, nice, he just has that good old boy kind of look to him. 71 years old, missing July 21st, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. David was born in California, worked as a contractor and in the housing industry most of his life, and was a pastor, outdoorsman, hunter. He had photos with deer that he'd killed. David and his wife are the co-pastors of Jubilation Fellowship Church in Murphy, Oregon. It's David and his wife, co-pastors. Now, Murphy is located in the southwest area of Oregon near the California border. And they'd been operating the church for almost 40 years, since September 9th, 1984. At the time, people donated time, material, and finances to help build the church. He and his wife also built churches in the Philippines. 40 years of preaching Christianity at the same church. I would call that quite a success in a community that must have really appreciated them. So what happened is that on July 21st, 2026 at about 8 a.m., David is seen leaving his church riding a white Genesis mountain bike. Well, Dave, what's a white Genesis mountain bike? Well, there's a picture of it right there. There's a picture of him on that bike that morning, and there's David. This is from the Josephine County Sheriff's Office, the bulletin for David. So he leaves his church, riding his mountain bike, and he left there at 8 a.m. Now, Murphy is not a big town, folks. It's very small. At 9:30, he's seen on CCTV riding by the front of the Dollar General store, also in Murphy, not very far away, probably less than a half mile. He doesn't come home at all that day, and that night is reported missing to the Josephine County Sheriff's. The next day, several church goers, friends, and family organized a search. They put up drones, ground pounders, and more, and they searched the area. This is the part that's, I think, very enlightening. This is a picture of, or a map of Murphy, Oregon. Fellowship Church is right here. So he leaves that at 8 a.m., and he rides a half mile to the Dollar General right here. Now, what's right next to the Dollar General? The Applegate River. If somebody asks me, Dave, where is he? Well, you know what I would say. But it's based on years of experience, writing a book about people who disappear and are found in water. Well, they continue to search. They searched 3 different days. They searched under that bridge. They searched in the water. They searched everywhere reasonable that you would look, and they found nothing. This case reminded me of at least 2 other cases in Southern Oregon where people on bikes disappeared and have never been found, which is odd. Yeah, there's been other places in the U.S. where this has happened, but I can't remember 3 cases in one area like this. So what are the possibilities? Right away, it came up to my mind that he was riding down the road, either had a medical emergency or took his eyes off the road, and he rode off the road down a steep embankment, broke his leg, had a heart attack, and he's laying down there somewhere. Now that is a very hard one to find, trust me, especially on a bike. If a car goes off, sometimes there's skid marks going off the road. Bike is very hard. You would have to bring in dogs to find him. So did he ride off the side of the road? Well, we don't know. Did someone have a grudge on David? Someone run him down, take the body, take the bike and bury it? The family and the church would know that if there was a grudge. There was no signs of Alzheimer's or dementia. He was in good shape, sharp. Now we go back. He disappeared quite close to the Applegate River. Could he possibly be in that water? I don't know. I would tell you that the first couple of days, that's where I would put all my efforts in. And then I would start expanding out from there. Probably have to ask family and friends and churchgoers, where would he be riding to? Take that route. But a better question to me is, he left that church at 8 a.m. He's seen at the Dollar General at 9:30. Where was he for an hour and a half? That'd be a question. Did he stop at a restaurant and have breakfast? I don't know. But those little clues mean everything. Now, the Josephine County Sheriffs have the case. This incident happened July 21st, not that long ago. But I can tell you that they are not doing any searches, but his friends and family are trying to keep it up, keep looking. This is a peculiar case. Very peculiar. And if I was the sheriffs, I would take a little more interest in it than what they're doing right now. I'm just saying. Again, the third bicycle riding case in this area of Southern Oregon that I know about. That's a weird. Well, friends, those are the two cases. I appreciate you being here. Kindness is key. Kindness is key. And we got to remember to be nice to each other, care about each other, be polite, take a few extra seconds, express your appreciation for service workers. This is funny. I went to the ice cream store the other day. It was about 8 o'clock at night. There weren't a whole lot of people around. And I put Huck in the back. I went in and I got an ice cream for me, and I got a little cup of ice cream for her. She likes ice cream. So we're sitting at a table outside, and Huck, I kind of have the cup held between my feet on the cement floor, and as I'm eating mine, her head is kind of down between my legs, and the people walk by and they go, "Hey, why don't you do your dog a favor and get her some ice cream?" I'm like, "Hey, come here." She is so busy with her head down, just licking away. People walk around, they look at her, "Oh, very smart." She never gave two rats. She never looked up. She just kept eating away. It was about 90 degrees. No, it was about 85 degrees then. It's really warm. But she loves it. Well, ice cream is her favorite. And once a month, that's her treat. My kindness gesture to Huck. You guys, thanks for being here. If you haven't seen the number of interviews I have done, L.A. Marzulli, Scott Carpenter, Ron Moorhead, Jonathan Dover. There's a whole series of them that I've done and I've posted in the last month. Take a look, watch them. I've gotten a good response from them. In the meantime, be safe. Paulides out.